A year after being left to my own devices, I planned a trip to Ireland. I traveled to the bus station, then to Boston, and on Aer Lingus to Ireland. I was so lucky to have a nice older gentleman sitting in the seat one seat over from me. We were so lucky to have an empty seat between us. Somehow I fell asleep for most of the flight, probably because of the chicken I had eaten at the airport. I remember sitting in the airport and this girl walked by who must have been a model, and she was pulling a very small suitcase, so that had to be it, and she was headed to the VIP lounge. Anyway, onto the plane, over to Ireland, and the fog was so bad that we had to be rerouted to Dublin rather than Shannon, which was so much further from my destination, which was Ashford Castle. I had had a folder for years that had taken pages out of magazines over and over and over. And when I had been making the decision, I had gone through the entire folder, and the last thing in the folder was something about that castle hotel. And that was it for me. 4.5 hours from Dublin, we finally arrived. I had the nicest driver who bought ice cream for me on the way. By the time I got to my room, to my suitcase, I didn't have anything to cut the cable tie with because that was the restriction back then. So instead of calling the front desk of this major castle hotel, I went all the way back down in my total stupor of no sleep for who knows how many hours and got some scissors. I went down to dinner and was so oblivious that I just ordered something off the menu, and the maitre d' was so kind that he said, okay, what would you like for your main course, and what would you like for this and that? And he just didn't make me feel like an idiot at all, which was great. I was so full that the next morning I couldn't even eat breakfast. It was such a beautiful place, so much peace, and because of my late arrival, they had given me a room with a view of the lake, which in Ireland they call a loch. I walked all of the walkways. Every night it rained, but in the morning the sun would come out. It was just so beautiful, and it's a trip that I will never forget. I met a wonderful Irish couple who adopted me for a few days while they were there. One night we went down to what they called the dungeon bar at the time, and there was someone reciting Keats and another woman who played the harp, and it was absolutely beautiful. There was this one guy across from me who was much younger, but at the time I didn't look my age at all. And he just kept watching me. To go on with that, the next night I went to the room where they had computers and you could check your emails. And he was there. And he made the comment that he would see me later. Well, that night was the night before I had to leave, and I was just in pieces. So I ordered room service. And I always have wondered what would have happened if I hadn't. And I had gone down to the dining room and into the lounge, into the spacious rooms in that place, which were just unbelievable. It was just a trip of a lifetime. And I have more stories about that to be continued.